This week, our Houston Texans take on the Tennessee Titans. It's week 15, man. And, at this point, usually, you'd expect the Texans and Titans to have already played at least once. But instead, the Texans and Titans play each other week 15 and week 17. And in my opinion, and I'm sure a bunch of fans, Texans fans and Titans fans as well, we can all agree that this is bad scheduling. Why in the world would they schedule the Titans and Texans to play twice in a 3-week span? I just think that's pretty dumb. But regardless, this is a pretty important game. But this game is a must-win game for the Titans if they want to control their own destiny. Yes, this game is important for the Texans, but if the Titans want to win the division, they have to sweep the Texans. If the Texans want to win the division, then they just got to get one win against Tennessee. Obviously, assuming that Houston wins against Tampa Bay and Tennessee wins against New Orleans in week 16. But, yeah, Tennessee, they need a sweep. The Texans, they need one game, and they need to beat Tampa Bay to win the division. So, this game is much bigger for the Titans than it is for the Texans. If the Texans lose, well, they still control their own destiny. If the Titans lose, then they have to hope that the Texans drop a game to Tampa Bay. Now, the Tennessee Titans, they're hot right now. They're the second hottest team in the NFL, behind only the Baltimore Ravens, who have won 8, 9 games in a row. Tennessee, I believe they've won 6 out of their last 7, and I think they've won 4 in a row ever since Tannehill took over. So, yeah, they're doing pretty good. I mean, this game, it's a possible bounce back game for the Texans after that disgusting showing last week against the Broncos. And the Texans and Titans, they've been splitting since 2016, and what that means is, Houston wins a game, Tennessee wins another game, and the Texans actually haven't won in Tennessee since 2015, so I find that kind of interesting. Anyways, let's get into these matchups, starting off the Titans offense versus the Texans defense, starting with the run game. Tennessee, they have one of the best run games in the NFL, and that's undebatable. It's one of the best ones in the NFL, especially over the last 4 weeks. Derrick Henry has just been unstoppable. And the Texans' run defense, it's been leaky since the bye week, honestly. Baltimore came out, they, ran all over the Texans. Indy ran all over the Texans. Well, the Patriots kind of did, but for whatever reason they went away from it. The Broncos had success running against the Texans, and, I expect the Titans to also have success running against the Texans. Now, Derrick Henry is dealing with a hamstring injury, but I still expect him to play, and I do expect the hamstring injury to affect them a little bit, because that's just the way hamstring injuries are. You're going to feel it. But honestly, regardless of the hamstring injury, I expect Derrick Henry to have success running against the Texans, because the Texans, they haven't been able to stop the run since the bye week, like I said. And I'm not just saying that because Derrick Henry's on my fantasy team. No, that has nothing to do with it. I actually do believe that Derrick Henry will be able to have a big day against the Texans' run defense, because it's been leaky, man. And It's frustrating, but it's true. Our run defense has been suspect as of late. Now for the passing game. Ryan Tannehill has done a very good job since he took over. However, the Titans do have one of the worst pass blocking offensive lines, and the Texans' remade secondary will be looking to bounce back after that horrendous showing versus Denver. Plus, if I'm being honest, Tennessee doesn't really have any crazy good receiving threats. I mean, Delaney Walker's hurt. A.J. Brown, in my opinion, is their only legitimate threat. And let me just say this. I knew A.J. Brown was going to be a good man. A.J. Brown was top 2 for me coming out of this draft class in terms of wide receivers. And the fact that the Titans were able to get him in the second round, I thought that was a complete steal. Now, besides Brown, I don't like anyone else on the Titans receivers. Like, I don't like their tight ends. Jonah Smith, Corey Davis looking like a bust. A.J. Brown's really the only guy the Texans have to worry about. And like I said, I expect the Texans secondary to bounce back because Bill O'Brien called out Romeo Crennel earlier this week. And yeah, I just feel like the Texans secondary will come out and perform because they have the talent to do so. I mean, Garyon Conley, since we got him, dude's been a stud. Bradley Roby's having a career year here, even though he missed 5-6 games. Like, the games he's played here in Houston, he's looked way better than he ever did in Denver. And then Vernon Hargreaves has actually been, pretty good for us in the slot. All Romeo Crennel has to do is not rotate the corners. You got your 3 starters. Garyon Conley, Bradley Roby, and Vernon Hargreaves. Those are your starters. Those 3 are clearly better than Jonathan Joseph and Lonnie Johnson. Now, if you want to use Lonnie Johnson to cover a tight end here and there, that's fine. But don't be, over there. Oh, for this series, we're throwing out Garyon Conley. For this one, Jonathan Joseph. And, let's replace Roby with Lonnie Johnson for this drive. That makes no sense. It's dumb. I don't know why Crennel would even think to do that. So, Garyon Conley, Roby, and Hargreaves. Those are your 3 guys, your top 3 guys. If those 3 are out there at the same time, then I expect the Texans to completely shut down the Titans' passing attack. Now, let's move over to the other side, the Texans' offense versus the Titans' defense, starting with the run game. The Texans, they probably have the most inconsistent run game in the NFL. I hate the Texans' run game. One week it's here, the next week is gone. It's annoying. Last week against Denver, it was actually quite decent, but for whatever reason, we didn't utilize it that much to start the game. We kept trying to pass the ball, even though the run game was clearly working. But, yeah, I don't know. But the run game was working last week, but it didn't work against New England. It didn't work against Indianapolis. It didn't work against Baltimore. So, our run game, extremely inconsistent, and the Titans, they have a pretty good run defense. So, if I'm being honest here, I expect the Titans to bottle up the Texans' running game. I don't think we'll be able to get a run game going. I mean, we haven't really been able to get one going for, most of the last few weeks. So, I don't see that changing here against Tennessee, who happens to have a pretty good run defense. Now, in the passing game, the Texans, well, they have an inconsistent offense as a whole, and that includes the passing attack. The passing attack goes as far as Watson takes them. And after last week's lackluster performance, I do feel like the offense will come out rolling. I mean, Watson loves to play the Titans. The Titans, historically, they have no answers for DeAndre Hopkins and Will Fuller. And even Deshaun Watson, he usually tears up the Titans. He's 2-1 against them. The only loss that he has against them was because Deshaun was really rusty coming off that ACL injury. You guys remember last year, those first 3 games, Deshaun was like so sluggish. And we played the Titans in week 2 last year, so if you put that game to the side, Deshaun Watson has torn up the Titans the 2 other times they've met. So I expect that to happen again. The Titans secondary isn't really all that good this season, in my opinion, and especially now since they're missing Malcolm Butler, I expect Deshaun Watson to really have his way with this Titans defense. Like I said, I don't think this Titans defense is really all that good, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to Deshaun Watson. There's been games where Watson just isn't seeing the field properly, last week against Carolina, against Baltimore, where he's just not seeing things properly. He starts holding onto the ball forever and takes a bunch of sacks. If you look at the Texans sack number, the sacks allowed, it's really high. It's like 38, 39 if you count the time McCarron got sacked. But most of those sacks this season have been on Deshaun Watson. Like, if you go back to the Baltimore game, the average time to sack for the Ravens was like 6.2 seconds. That means Deshaun Watson was holding on to the ball forever. And I'm just saying that because I know there's going to be some Titans fans saying the Texans have a bad O-line. Nope. The Texans have a very good O-line. The reason why those sack numbers are pretty big is because Deshaun Watson continues to hold on to the ball way too long in certain occasions. I mean, against Baltimore, he took I believe it was 6 sacks, and 5 of them were entirely on him, from what I remember. The other one went to A.J. McCarron, so the Ravens got 7 sacks that game. And then the Carolina game, week 4, he took a bunch of sacks that game too when he was holding onto the ball forever. The Texans' offensive line gives Deshaun Watson time. The Texans' O-line is no longer an issue with the Texans. So, like I said, it all comes down to Deshaun Watson. What Watson will show up against Tennessee? The dude that's going to be struggling to see the field, or the dude who's just going to throw the football and, not care about what the other team's doing and just completely shred the opposing defense? I don't know what Watson will get. It's all on him, man. Now, the keys to the game, if the Texans want to win. Number 1, stop the run. Actually, let me reword that. Contain the run. Slow it down, because I don't think the Texans will be able to shut down the run game. The Titans are just too good at running the ball. So they have to slow it down a bit to have a shot to win this game. Number 2, don't turn the ball over. If you turn the ball over, things can get out of control. Deshaun Watson, once he turns the ball over, against Baltimore, against Denver, or, not him in particular, but once the offense turns the ball over, Watson kind of gets out of his rhythm. You remember against the Baltimore game, Watson fumbled. He was doing pretty good, but he held onto the ball forever on the first drive. He fumbled, and then Watson kind of struggled from there on out. Against the Broncos, Watson was doing a pretty good job, but then Kiki QT fumbled. The Broncos picked it up, took it all the way, and then, Watson never really got going either. So, do not turn the ball over. Play within your play style. Just do you. And the last key, no special team mess-ups. If you guys don't know, the Tennessee Titans have one of the best special teams in the NFL. In fact, they've won 2 games recently, in my opinion, due to their special teams. The game against KC, a few weeks back, and then the game against Indy. They won those games because they were able to block field goals and, against Indianapolis, take it all the way. And after they got that field goal block, that just kind of opened up the game for them, and they blew them out. And against KC, they sealed the win with a blocked field goal. So Texans better watch out. They can't let Tennessee surprise them on special teams, because those special teams plays, man, they can ruin games. They can turn a game around immediately. And now for my prediction. I am going 24-20. Texans win. I just think Watson and the defense aren't going to come out how they did last week. And honestly, I am a believer in the great Texans trend of 2019. And if for whatever reason you don't know what that is by now, lose 1, win 2. We lost last week, now we win this week. But on a more serious note, I think Bill O'Brien's just simply a better coach than Mike Vrabel. I think Mike Vrabel is a terrible coach, honestly, and he'll probably be fired after next season. Not this season, but the season after that, after 2020, he'll be gone. And I don't know what's going to happen with O'Brien. All depends on what happens in the playoffs with him. I mean, I'm not saying O'Brien's way better, but I just don't think Mike Vrabel is head coaching material. So, yeah, we'll see about that. But I do think the Texans will come out and win this game. I think they'll come out pissed off and, just play how they're supposed to play. Play to their potential, their talent level. Because this Texans team, they have talent all across the board. They're way more talented than the Titans, but they're extremely inconsistent. Well, actually, they're consistently inconsistent because, look at the trend. So, yeah, I think the Texans win this game and get back on track, sort of. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you guys for today. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.